Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 9th of May, 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, in a few hours' time, Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers will hand down his first full budget, and the highlight will be a small surplus this year, even after paying for new spending measures to help millions of households. Low unemployment benefits and more money from the big miners, thanks to high commodity prices, has enabled the stunning turnaround for the current financial year. In the following 4 years, deficits are expected to be forecast to shrink by $143 billion. 12 months ago, the then Morrison government forecast a deficit for this financial year of $78 billion, an $82 billion turnaround. Quite the effort. Ahead of the budget, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said it was about investing in the medium and long term while also dealing with more immediate cost of living challenges. We find out at 7:30 tonight. Story number 2, the S&P ASX 200 finished the day down 0.2% to 7,264 points. The market fell early but then stabilised and fought its way higher. It was a tough day for the real estate investment trusts. Charter Hall was the worst among the real estate stocks, falling 4%, but it wasn't alone. Stockland, Mirvac and Abacus Property Group all closed more than 2% lower. Best on the day were the financials and industrials. The 4 major banks started weaker but closed the session in the black. Macquarie Group was the standout, jumping more than 2%. The big miners, BHP, Fortescue Metals and Rio, were all lower, as were the energy companies Woodside and Santos. The retailers tended to outperform, led by Coles, which was up 0.2%. Toll Road giant Transurban jumped 0.5%. Story number 3. Well, it took 12 hours, but Telstra eventually restored services to mobile customers hit with an Australia-wide outage overnight and into this morning. Mind you, some customers are still complaining as we go to air about it. Customers began reporting problems last night, and the fault hit customers mostly in Queensland and New South Wales. Outages spiked just before 8 a.m. this morning. Telstra advised affected customers to turn airplane mode off and on to reset their connection or to make a data call using Wi-Fi instead. It said mobile data and calls to 000 were not affected. Still not quite sure, though, what the problem was. Story number 4, today is all about the budget, but there are a couple of quirky stories out of Canberra. One was opposition leader Peter Dutton calling on the Chinese government to release Australian journalist Cheng Lei from disturbing detention and return her home. Dutton released a joint statement with Foreign Affairs opposition spokesman Simon Birmingham, marking the 1,000th day since Ms. Cheng's detention. Another was National Senator Matt Canavan parading around a lump of coal in Parliament and at media appearances, saying it was the reason for the surplus we expect to hear about tonight. And finally, Mary Doyle, the winner of the recent Aston by-election in Melbourne, today became the first politician in federal parliament to swear allegiance to King Charles III. And finally, story number 5, BMW is the latest car manufacturer to upgrade its recall of vehicles with Takata airbags, telling owners to not drive the 90,000 affected sedans and SUVs until the defective equipment is replaced. Honda and Ford more recently have made similar do not drive orders. The airbags can explode if they're deployed after long exposure to high heat and humidity. Now, this is the crisis that triggered the largest recall in US history, affecting about 34 car brands, according to Bloomberg. At least 25 deaths and more than 400 injuries in the US have been linked to the defect. Investigations into the issues with the Japanese airbags began back in the early 2000s. The company pleaded guilty to criminal charges and agreed to pay $1 billion in penalties in 2017, with $850 million set aside for automakers. Takata filed for bankruptcy back in 2017. Recalls are still continuing to this day. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 9th of May, 2023. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Wednesday edition of Fear and Greed, and it will be a budget bumper. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.